Oh, and mine's on jellyfish. Welcome back to Knives, I guess. And I don't think that mentally or emotionally I can handle somebody inventing the Matchbox car wash. The mere thought of spinning a car dry is terrifying. Boy, you gotta be old to get that one. But do me a favor and hit that like button or you will scare an infant. And let's get into the Vosteed Raccoon top liner lock. So we did our live stream on that last night. We had a great live stream. You guys got me up over 4K. I can't thank you enough for that. The chat devolved into some beautiful chaos. It was pretty unhinged. I loved it. But because it's protocol, let's take a look at what we're holding because it'll bother you if I don't, and you know I love you. And first things first, and most importantly, the pocket clip is tip up, which is the Lord's carry. We have got this G10 in red and white with the snowflake pattern. The pocket clip is reversible. We have got the button lock, and we have got the thumb stud. Now, last time we did the button lock. This time we're going to do it different. We're going to flick the stud. And we got 3.25 inches of 14C 28N steel. And this is a limited edition for Crimbus. So where is it? Come on, focus. There we are. There's a little gingerbread man right there on the Ricasso. And we got serial number 13 right there. So we got a nice low serial number. I almost feel bad for carrying this and not babying it and making it a shelf queen, because I'm sure I'm going to find out it's worth more than I want to think about on the secondary market in a year or two, but I'm not going to resell it. I bought this for me. So, I carried it for the week. It did great there. I really enjoyed it. I really like the top liner lock, especially with the forgiving nature of the button lock. And of course, she does centrifugal open, which I love like nothing else. I love a good centrifugal open. Everything about it was great. I loved the week I had I loved the week I had carrying it. It was fantastic. So, our live streams, if you're new here, our live streams are cardboard slayer sessions. See how much cardboard we can cut up before the edge fails on us. And we are looking for edge devastation here, not just the first snag on paper or anything like that. We really push it to the point of failure. Now, I will get this out of the way. We use the amount of time spent cutting because we spend hours at a time just doing about a 5 to 7 inch cut every second or two. So when I say we go by cut time, that's what I mean. Like a 5-7 inch cut every second or two, just nonstop. And we only count the time spent cutting, not the breaks. So you got an idea what's happening there. This is not the most formal and not the most scientific testing possible. We're just getting a really good idea of what these steels can do. And we really know what to expect out of like 8CR, 3CR, D2. This is the first time we've had 14C28N in a good while, and certainly since we have started really getting our testing protocol to where it is now. Like I said, we get a real good idea how steels stack up against each other. And like 8CR13 will do 2.5 hours of that kind of cutting. 3CR will do 1.5 hours. D2 will do 4 hours. With the 14C28N, I was kind of spitballing guesses, but I didn't really know what to expect because, again, we hadn't done that yet. So we're getting our first real solid data point here to compare other 14C28Ns to by now, after this. If one of you in the comments knows more about this stuff than I do, let me know how 14C is supposed to stack up against D2, because we do a lot of D2. I'm familiar with D2 backwards and forwards now. But how's it supposed to stack up for edge retention, hardness, the HRC, all that? Like, let me know. Because I didn't get what I was hoping I'd get. I was hoping for about a 4.5 to 5 hour run before the edge was devastated. I didn't get that. So we started off and we tested the edge and we got a 226 to start off with on the electronic tester. So we started off in a good place. It's not the best place we've ever started, but it was in a really good place. We cut for an hour. After that hour, we tested a 408 at the worst spot. And that is the number of grams of pressure it takes to cut through a calibrated test clip on the tester. I will show you that a little bit later here. But that's some rapid edge degradation. With D2, we might be approaching the mid 300s at the worst. And so 408, that's a bit of rapid wear. And we hit our 2 hour mark, and we were at a 534 and a 547 at the worst spot, 383 towards the heel, and starting off at around 226, hitting a 383 at the heel was a surprise. This part of the knife is going to take the least wear and tear. Most of it's going to happen right here. The heel normally doesn't show much wear. The 226 would be like a 275, maybe 280 on D2, which is kind of my frame of reference for most things right now. But at the 3 hour mark, we hit a 529, and then the worst spot we had that I could actually get a test on was 604. You're talking about cutting a tiny area and trying to hunt down the worst spot. And again, this is fairly informal, but it's given us a good idea of what's happening. 604 is in bad shape. That is letting go right about to die. And then in 15 minutes, it started tearing and rolling the cuts. It was god awful. It was devastated. It was done. We hit a 597, a 586, and then we hit the worst spot at 715. So the test 15 minutes earlier at the 3 hour mark probably had a rougher spot that I didn't find than the 604. I pretty much guarantee it. But that is some devastation at 3 hours and 15 minutes. So what this means is we split the difference right down the middle between 8CR13 and D2. 8CR13 gives us 2.5 hours like clockwork. D2 gives us 4 hours like clockwork. We more or less split the difference on the 8CR13 and the D2. And the wear, like, I would be worried about it being a burnt edge or something like that. However, if you can see here, there are hairline scratches through the steel. And with these belt satin finishes, 8CR13 shows tons of hairline scratches after 2.5 hours of doing this. A lot of hairlines. D2 will show a few, a scant handful, but not a lot. The amount that I'm seeing right here is a lot less than 8CR13, and of course a lot more than D2. Like, again, it's right there in the middle of the pack. And of course we sharpened it up afterwards, and again, with the testing, you're testing a tiny area of the knife each time you move around, so you're going to see the numbers move a little bit. But we got a 139 right here towards the belly. At the tip, it was 122. At the heel, it was 114. This thing took a really good edge. It took a great edge off of the Precision Adjust Professional. I'm sure if I spent a lot more time working on it, I could have gotten it a bit finer, but I mean, look at that. Do you really need more than that? I need more than that, but that's the best I could get out of it last night. So, I mean, the cut is so nice. It's cutting really well. It's got the bevel I like. And again, the resale value is kind of out the window. The grunge from my keys has left black marks inside the liners and kind of over here on this corner that I need to clean off. Acetone got most of it. We put a new edge on it. We've got obvious signs of use. I'm not going to resell it, but there's a part of my brain that's going to be stuck at, but it's not going to be as valuable. I don't care. I had a great time with it. I had a great time with this thing. But, so, you see the scale here, and you guys on the live streams, your super chats, channel memberships, what have you, provided this for the channel, so thank you. But this will measure the number of grams of pressure it takes to cut through this little nylon wire right here. That's how that works. I get a lot of questions about that, and I never really explain that while I'm doing this on the videos. So that's how it works. But 181. So that's not terrible. Let's get a second clip, and I'll show you what I mean when I say the numbers will change a bit when you move them around. The 181 is still really good. Like, most factory edges, brand new out of the box, will be in the 250s with the stuff that we buy in the budget range. A lot of budget factory edges are going to be in the 200s to 250s. 181 is still a really good number. 143. 143 is an excellent number right there. I can normally get them down to around 120. And again, I probably could have spent more time on the higher grit stones, really polishing this edge out, but I was tired. But I mean, it took a great edge. So with me not knowing what to expect out of 14C28 in here, I think we did all right. Like I said, this is our first data point on this that we now can compare other 14C28 ins against. We do have some more waiting in the wings that I'm looking forward to testing out. Once we get there, those are going to be random rolls, which if you haven't checked out the streams or haven't been on a lot of them, our normal format, which we have strayed away from over the holidays, is there will be 5 knives on the table when we start. I will roll a 20-sided die, and the 20-sided die of destiny picks the knife for the night. We've had 14C28 in on there a bunch of times, and the D20 of destiny has not smiled upon it yet, but it will eventually. But, that was an interesting session. The flat grind on this did great. It did great. It felt like a flat grind should. The ergonomics on this, however, were fantastic. I did not see any major issues out of the ergonomics. The ergos are great. This part of my hand right here that gets chewed up where I've got calluses built up from doing these live streams was not bothered in the least. The worst I got was I felt some pressure on my hand whenever I would push down because, of course, you're pushing down through hundreds and hundreds of cuts. Down here in my palm where the dingus end hits, not really an issue. The ergonomics were great. I expected them to be good, but they exceeded my expectations. Um, Overall, this is one of my favorites that I've bought in the last I don't know how long. Like I've been hitting on a lot of good ones lately, and this is one of the best that I've bought in a long time. I can't recommend this enough, especially like if you're like me, I like the idea of a button lock, but button locks tend to disagree because I don't have the most finesse in the world when I'm closing these things. They do tend to bounce back open on me, and a lot of button locks have zero forgiveness, no forgiveness on that. Some of them do, like the Pyrite button lock is pretty dang good. There are a couple others I can't remember what they are now. I've got some decent button locks that I like, but this is probably the most forgiving one of the bunch. The top liner lock I deal with this, oh, fabu. Fabu. It is very forgiving. So, overall, all in, fantastic knife. It was worth what I spent on it for sure. This version is sold all the way out from what I can tell, but you can still get the plain Jane, non-limited edition version easily enough on Amazon. I think they might be around $65. I'll throw a link in the description. That way you can check it out for yourself if you decide you want to get one, or if you've been looking at these and you like what you see here, have at it. You can't really go wrong here. But that's kind of everything I wanted to tell you about. I love sharing with you what happened during Cardboard Slayer. That's how this session went. I had a great time. I think the knife's really good. I just need more data points on the 14C28N so I can compare this one to the others. But I can't think of much else to add. So all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, you guys are awesome. Y'all keep coming in. I appreciate you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We have got our live streams. We got regular videos. There's plenty of activities. Comments. I love some feedback. Let me have it. And if you know more than I do about how 14C28N stacks up against D2, please let me know in the comments. I am still learning. I am learning as I go. But all that being said, y'all have a nice day.